picture may look like a chaotic collection of trees, rocks, and water. But if you look closer, there is a blueprint.
From the smallest seashell to the vastest desert, the universe repeats the set of mathematical rules.
These are the patterns of existence. First is the symmetry. That symmetry has two types, which is the bilateral and radial. I choose the bilateral, which is the guava leaves, or the scientific name it is called Sodium guajava. Bilateral symmetry is the condition in which an organism or structure can be divided into two equal mirror image halves by only one line or plane of symmetry. If you draw a line in the down of the center of a guava leaf, the leaf half and right half look almost the same. The veins, edges, and size on both sides match each other like a mirror image, but it has only one line of symmetry. It is called bilateral symmetry. Next is a snail, or the scientific name it is called Corno aspersor. It's considered bilateral because its body can be divided into two equal halves, left and right, along one central line. Even though the shell looks spiral and even, the soft body of the snail shows bilateral symmetry. It has two eyes, one on each side, two tentacles, left and right. And next, we have the rose, or the scientific name it is called Rose indica. This belongs to spiral because the petals go in a curved circular pattern from the center outward, forming a spiral shape instead of two equal halves. A rose belongs to spiral symmetry because its petals are arranged in a spiral pattern around the center of the flower. And next is the radial symmetry. And I have here the lemon, which is my example. So the scientific name, it is called citrus lemon. It shows radial symmetry because when it cut across the middle, its segments are arranged evenly around a central point. And it can be divided into several identical parts from the center like the spokes of a wheel.
Then we have spots. These aren't just random splashes of color. They are the result of chemical reactions during development. Example is this Canis lupus familiaris or the domesticated dog. As you can see, there's a spot in his body. Every spot begins in the embryo. There is a group of stem cells called the neural crest. Think of this as the travelers of the body. As the puppy develops, these cells migrate from the spine down toward the belly and limbs, carrying the instructions for pigment. Why spots instead of stripes? In simple terms, chemical interact in the skin. One activates color and the other inhibits it. Depending on the speed and timing of these waves, they create specific shapes. In dogs, the timing is set to staccato, resulting in isolated islands or color or the spots. Next is the Codieo variegatum or the garden croton. The garden croton spots are a mix of clever biology and survival tactics. Here is the short and sweet version. First is the pigment masking. The spots are created by carotenoids, the yellow and orange, and anthocyanins, the red and purple. These pigments mask the green chlorophyll, appearing as splashes of color rather than a solid green leaf. Second is the built-in sunscreen. In intense tropical sun, these colorful spots act like a photoprotectants. They absorb excess light energy, preventing the plant's internal engines from overheating or being damaged by UV rays. Third is the camouflage. The irregular patterns break up the leaf silhouette. This makes it harder for hungry pests to recognize the plant of food against the dappled light of a forest floor. Fourth is the genetic variety. Crotons are genetically flexible. They easily produce bud mutations leading to different patterns like dots, veins, or blotches, even on the same plant. Next is the Sanchizeia speciosa or the zebra plant. This plant evolved stripes for three main reasons. First is the camouflage. In the dappled light of a rainforest floor, stripes break up the leaf's outline, making it harder for herbivores to spot and eat. Second is the light optimization. The dark green areas are packed with chlorophyll to catch dim light, while the lighter veins or variegation help the plant manage its energy resources efficiently in the shade. Third is the genetics. It is a hereditary trait of the Acanthaceae family. The white or yellow color often comes from air pockets or lack of pigment along the veins, which is a blueprint written in their DNA. Next is the stripes. Stripes serves as nature's ultimate optical illusion. Stripes are one of the nature's most efficient ways to organize space. Example is the Aglaonema crispum or the Chinese evergreen. It is a floor dweller in the tropical rainforest of Asia. The stripes are a result of variegation where different layers of the leaf contain different amounts of chlorophyll. Its leaves aren't just green, they are etched with rhythmic silver stripes. But why? In nature, patterns are rarely just for show. They are survival strategy.
A wave is essentially a disturbance that carries energy through a medium. And as what you can see here in the flowing creek, the water creates a continuous rolling pattern even without hitting any stones. This is scientifically known as turbulent flow. It belongs to the category of waves because it is a repeating oscillation of energy caused by friction between the moving water and the creek bed. This pattern applies to the surface layer of the water, where the liquid tumbles into small ripples called eddies. This weaving motion is vital because it mixes oxygen in the water, supporting the life that lives beneath the surface. Waves don't just exist in water, they also exist in the way animals move. As what you can see here, the earthworm, scientifically known as Perithema, moves by sending a continuous rhythmic wave down its entire body. This belongs to the waves category because it is a physical oscillation of moves contracting and expanding in a repeating sequence. This pattern applies to the segments of the worm's body where the wave of energy pushes against the soil to create forward motion, just like a wave traveling across the ocean. The movement of the perithema is a fluid rhythm that allows it to navigate through the earth with incredible efficiency. Finally, we have a unique version of dunes found on the skin of the coconut tree, scientifically known as Cocos nocifera. As what you can see here, the trunk is covered in horizontal, wave-like ridges that mimic the rolling patterns of the Sahara Desert. This belongs to the dunes category because it is a morphological pattern, a physical record of a repeating cycle of growth. This pattern applies to the entire length of the trunk, where its ridge marks the spot where a leaf once lived. Just as sand dunes are shaped by the interaction of wind and sand, these wooden dunes on the Cocos nocifera are shaped by the tree's upward growth over time, providing it with a rough, layered texture that helps it stay resilient against strong coastal winds. Finally, we have the large-scale patterns formed in the atmosphere, which we see as altocumulus clouds. As what you can see here, the clouds are arranged in a series of white, rolling ridges that look exactly like sand dunes in the desert. This belongs to the dunes category because it is a morphological pattern created by the interaction of wind and moisture. This pattern applies to the sky, where air currents moving in different speeds cause the clouds to pile up in consistent, repeating rows. Just as wind shapes the sand on the ground, the air shapes these clouds into a solid-looking landscapes of ridges and valleys, showing that the same physical rules of nature apply from the earth all the way up to the atmosphere.
The first example we have fern. Fern are plants that don't make seed or flower. Instead, they grow from tiny spores. They have a big leaves called fronds that start as tight coils called fiddleheads, must grow in wet places. The fern scientifically classified as Polypodiophyta. The second example is we have Siniguelas tree. It is originally from Americas and introduced to the Philippines by Spaniards. It reaches up to 25 meters tall and produces small, sweet tart fruit that ripen from green to reddish hues. Beyond its edible fruit, the tree helps prevent soil erosion and provides food and shelter for wildlife. The scientific name of Siniguelas tree is Spongias purpurea. The next pattern will be tessellation. A tessellation is the covering of a flat surface using one or more geometric shape with no overlaps and no gaps. Our first example is we have tilapia fish. Tilapia is a popular, mild-flavored and wild freshwater fish belonging to the cichlid family, originally native to Africa and the Middle East. The scientific name of the tilapia fish is Oreochromis niloticus. Tilapia fish is an example of a tessellation pattern in nature because their scales are arranged in a highly ordered, repeating, and interlocking structure that covers their body without gaps or overlaps. So the second example is we have sweet corn. Sweet corn is a popular vegetable variety of maize, distinguished by its sweet, tender kernels that come from a genetic trait preventing sugar from turning to starch quickly. The scientific name of sweet corn is Ziamase saccharata. Sweet corn is an example of tessellation pattern because each kernels are tightly packed in repeating rows across the cob, fitting together without gaps or overlaps. Each kernel is not hexagonal or rounded, arranged such as angles around every contact point sum to
360 degrees, maximizing space efficiency while giving the air structural stability.